Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the another topic of the bearing, which is very important topic. So we have seen this earlier, but now today we are going to revise this again. So today we will see about the design procedure of the journal bearing. Okay. So let's start with the design procedure of journal bearing. Students, in journal bearing, for design of a journal bearing, we need three things earlier. We should have first, we should know the bearing load that the particular bearing is carrying, the diameter of the bearing, and the speed of the shaft. These three things are very much required for design of the journal bearing. Number one, bearing load, then the diameter, and last one is the speed of the shaft. So when we know all these things, so following procedure can be adopt for designing of the bearing. Okay, so the very first point that comes, that is the determine the bearing length by choosing of L upon D ratio from the table. Earlier I have told you that for designing of a bearing we have to check some certain values of Zn upon P, C upon D, pressure, absolute viscosity. So all these values were given in the design data book. So and there's a table for design in design data book which hold all these things. Okay, so there is a image of that particular table, what table it looks like. So we have to identify our L upon D ratio from this particular table. Now, in this table, you can see the very first column is for the machinery. Second column is for bearing. Third column is the bearing pressure. And last four columns are of the operating values of different things. And those operating values are absolute viscosity, Zn upon P, C upon D, and L upon D. So from this, we first identify for what particular machinery we need to design our bearing. Okay, so we select that particular machinery in the machinery section. Fine. For example, I have to design a journal bearing for a centrifugal pump. So in machinery, I will select the centrifugal pump. I will select the centrifugal pump, and then it is here. It is given that is bearing is for the rotor of the centrifugal pump. So only rotor is there. If some other components are also there, then we have selected one of them. But here only the rotor is given, so we select rotor. Okay. So from this particular centrifugal pump rotor bearing, we have to select the L upon D ratio, which is here given as 1 to 2. So we will select any of the value between 1 to 2, or we can select 1, or we can select 2 also. It depends upon our selection. So we have selected the L upon D ratio from here. Fine. So for example, we have selected 1.6. Now let's go further. Now in second point, we have to check the bearing pressure P is equal to W into L upon D from the table for the probable satisfactory value. Now here we have selected the centrifugal pump earlier. We know that the machine we are using, we are designing a bearing for a centrifugal pump. So for centrifugal pumps, rotor bearing. Now, I said earlier in the starting that we should know about the bearing load, that is this W, journal diameter. Okay, so here we know that W and D. Fine. So from earlier we have selected L upon D ratio. From there we will identify the value of L. Okay. So from here we get the value of L. We already know the diameter of the bearing. So we will know about the pressure. W we have no. So W divided by L into D. From here we will obtain the pressure. Okay, now this pressure is to be uh, okay, now this pressure is to be checked from here. Their pressure is just, it should be compared from this particular pressure. If our given pressure is between these maximum pressure operating range, fine, it is okay. So in that case, the L upon D ratio we have selected is correct. Otherwise, we have to select another L upon D ratio, and then again we have to identify the pressure. If the pressure lies in between these values, or if there is a maximum pressure given in the question and the pressure that is generated is under that particular value, then the value of L and D are okay. That means the L upon D ratio we have selected is correct, and the length and diameter of the bearing is fixed. Fine. So from here we will identify the length of the bearing. Diameter already we have given. So from here we will find the length of the bearing and the operating pressure also. Now in the third step we have to assume the lubricant. Fine. So we have to check the lubricant and its operating temperature. So from design data book we will check the lubricant. Fine. So here it is, the graph of the lubricant in right hand side you can see, and here you have seen that the different lines are over here. Okay, and each and every line had its number like SA 70, SA 60, SA 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10. So these are the different types of lubricant oils: SA10, SA20, SA30, SA40, SA50, SA60, SA70. These are the different types of lubricants that are used for the bearings. Fine. So then we will identify the operating temperature, at which particular operating temperature our machine is working. We know that where the machine hour is working, like for centrifugal pump we have selected. So centrifugal pump must be used for somewhere to the somewhere we have to use for the water transmission. Fine, we have to lift the water from somewhere and send it somewhere, so it must be somewhere in the open air. Or so from here we will find that the operating temperature where the bearing is working we have to check. So on that particular operating temperature, here you can see in the on the x-axis there is a temperature range, and on this particular y-axis it's the absolute viscosity in centipoise. So we select the oil, that whatever oil we are using. For example, we have used the SA10 or SA20, and then we will select the operating temperature. For example, we have selected the operating temperature of 40 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius, and SA10, in that case we will draw a vertical line from here, whatever selection we have made, and a horizontal line from here to this particular thing, and where these two lines matches on the SA10 line or SA20 or SA30 line, whichever lubricant we have selected, we will check the absolute viscosity of oil in centipoise over here. Fine, we will get the absolute viscosity of oil in centipoise. We have selected the operating temperature, so here we will get the value of TO and Z. Fine. So there are the different types of working. So we have must select the operating temperature between 26.5 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius, because the normal working, it is for the normal working range. But if the high temperature installation is there, for example, steam turbine is there, because steam turbine is placed in a very closed, packed area, no normal ventilation is over there, no air circulation is there, and it's work on the steam, which is high in temperature. So for steam turbine or steam turbine or the high temperature installation like that, we will use up to 82 degrees Celsius as our working temperature. It is maximum. Fine. So here from here we have identified our lubricating oil, our operating temperature, and the viscosity of our oil. Now we have to identify the value of Zn upon P. Now here in the third step, we have identified the value of Z. Pressure we have identified in the second step. Okay, and speed is given to us. So we will identify the value of Zn upon P. We have selected absolute viscosity. Fine. So this Zn upon the value of Zn upon P is to be checked with the corresponding values of Zn upon P given in the table. Okay, it is very important because the value of Zn upon P is required to maintain the fluid film in complete operation. If the value of Zn upon P differs, so it is possible that the fluid film will break. So we have Z, we have N, we have P. We will identify the value of Zn upon P. Now, this value of Zn upon P must be greater than this particular value over here, given over here. Fine. For centrifugal pump, Zn upon P is 28. So the value of Zn upon P should be equal to 28 or above than 28. Now, if the value goes down, it happens. Sometimes we find that the value of Z upon P is less than the given value. So there is no problem with that. Then in that case, we have to check the value of Zn upon P with the value of bearing modulus. Fine. Bearing modulus is Zk. Fine. Okay, Zn upon P is known as the bearing characteristic number, and bearing modulus K is that minimum value of bearing characteristic number on which the fluid film breaks. So here the value is given 28. So we keep this value equal to 3K. Fine, and we identify the value of K, which is the bearing modulus. Fine. So then whatever the value of Zn upon P we have identified from here, okay, in our actual condition, then we compare that value of Z upon P to the K. And this value of Z upon P should be greater than K. Because if this value is less than K, in that case, there is possibly, there is possible, there is completely contact must be there. So we have to check this value. If this value is, if the obtained value of Zn upon P is greater than our value of K, then our bearing working is safe. Now, if value is less, in that case, what we should do? Now see, speed is given to us, so we can't change the speed. Fine, speed is constant. Pressure we have checked, pressure is okay with the bearing. That means pressure is not able to check. So we have the only value that can be changed is Z. So we have to again select the another oil or another operating temperature for which we should get the another value of absolute viscosity. Fine. So we change the value of absolute viscosity and then we again identify the value of Zn upon P, that is the bearing characteristic number, and then compare it with the values of the table. If it is greater than table, then it is okay. If it is less than the value given in the table, then we have to compare the value of bearing characteristic number to the bearing modulus, and it should be greater than the bearing modulus for proper working of the fluid film. Fine. So from here, we have identified the value of Zn upon P, that is our bearing characteristic number. Now, the next step is to assume the clearance ratio from the table. So from here, we will check the C upon D ratio from the table. So again, for centrifugal pump, here we have given the centrifugal pump. So we will go and we will check the clearance ratio as 0.0013. Now, student, listen, there is a very important thing over here. This value of C upon D, if we see, so it is given in the table. But if we check design data books, so we have available with two design data books that is permitted in examination. First one is the PSG design data book, and second one is the Mahadevan Reddy design data book. So in PSG design data book, this C upon D value is not given. Fine. In C upon D value is not given, and all these value of maximum pressure, Zn upon P, absolute viscosity, these values are given in CGS pattern. Fine. So bearing pressure is given, our absolute viscosity is given in the centipoise. Fine. The bearing pressure is given in Newton per centimeter, kgf per centimeter square. Fine. So in these cases, we have to check. So in that particular thing, we have to convert over here and then use. But in Mahadevan Reddy design data book, it is given as it is in SI, and the C upon D ratio is also available. So if you are using PSG design data book, so please go through this C upon D and keep the values of C upon D remembering, because it is very simple to remember. Only for centrifugal pump and the rolling mills, the value of C upon D is different. For everything else, the value of C upon D is 0.001. Only for centrifugal pumps, it is for 0.0013, and for rolling mills, it is 0.0015. So if you don't have the PSG Mahadev Reddy design data book, you are working from PSG design data book, it is no issue with that. You can keep continuing, but you have to keep remembering these particular values. Fine. So from here, we have identified the value of C upon T. Now, moving to next, now the step comes, now the thing of the calculation come over here. First, now in this next step, we will determine the coefficient of friction mu, okay, by using the relation mu is equal to 33 upon 10 to the power 8 Zn upon P into D upon C plus K. Here it is given that the small k is written over here. So from here, we identify the value of coefficient of friction. Fine. We have selected the value of Zn upon P. We know upon the C upon D ratio. So here, D upon C is given. Fine. Now, the value of K is taken as 0.002 for the different values of L upon D. So L upon D, if the L upon D ranges between 0.75 to 2.8, the value of K is 0.002. Fine. So in this particular case, if we see, I'm going back to the table. If we see, the values of L upon D are generally between 1, 1.8 to 2. Only this particular value of L upon D is greater. It is 2.5 to 4, but still it is in the range of 2.8. If we select the 2.8 in for this range, the value of K is taken as 0.002. So maximum times the value of K is taken as 0.002. So please, one more thing, please don't confuse between this K and the bearing modulus K. Find the bearing modulus K is represented by the capital K, and this correction factor K is represented by small k. Fine. So from here we will get the value of coefficient of friction. Now next we will determine the heat generated, okay, by using the relation Qg is equal to mu W V. It is given in Newton per meter square or joule per second, or we can say the watt. Qg is the heat generated inside the bearing whenever the bearing rotates. The oil rotates. The oil also rotates throughout the bearing, so it gets heated. So because of this heat, there is a heat generation. So we have to check about how much heat is generated. Fine. So heat generation can be identified by Qg is equal to mu W V. Now, now, if we talk about this particular, if we talk about this particular, the relation of, relation of our Qg, heat generated, then Qg is mu Wv, where V is the rubbing velocity, which is given by pi dn by 60, where d is in meters. Fine. So here, from here, we will identify the value of Qg. Okay. We will get about the heat generated. And now next thing is to determine the heat dissipated. Fine. How much heat is generated in the bearing and how much heat is dissipated up the bearing, how much heat is released by the bearing, that should also be calculated. So from the relation Qd is equal to Ca Tv minus Ta joules per second or watt, we will identify the value of heat dissipated in the atmosphere. For the proper working of bearing, the amount of heat generated should be equal to the heat dissipated. But sometimes it not happens. Okay, from initial when the bearing start, it took a little bit time to come to the thermal equilibrium. In that thermal equilibrium, Qg comes equal to the Qd. But after some time, Qg heat generation is increased because of the bearing cannot be dissipate that much amount of heat to the atmosphere. At this particular of time, we have to check the two things. First, we have to either we have to redesign the bearing, or we can cool the bearing by the using of cooling water or the cooling oil. Fine. So this is the particular what we can say, the particular process of the design of general bearing. Fine. So please keep studying this and do the numericals for this particular procedure for designing of the general bearing. Okay, if you have any query, please do ask me. In the next topic, we will see some numerical based on the design of sliding contact bearings. Okay, fine. That's all from my side for today. Thank you very much, students. Bye. Happy learning.